Good afternoon. Welcome to this Week in Focus, this 15th day of February 2015. The political waters continue to heat up amid speculations and fear of Uganda's readiness and ability to have the 2016 general elections, with the NRM voting to have the elections postponed till 2018. This week, we also saw the recall of UCE technical results with discrepancies cited. And Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club tamed El Gecko Plus of Madagascar 3-2. I am Anita Mwangazi, joined by our sign language interpreter. Welcome. And confirmed reports this week indicated that the NRM caucus retreat in Chankwanzi unanimously voted to suspend the scheduled Electoral Commission 2016 presidential polls to 2018. In his remarks before the alleged NRM retreat started discussing the proposal to suspend the scheduled 2016 presidential polls, former Attorney General Professor Chiduma Kubuya called on the caucus to critically examine whether the proposed constitutional and electoral reforms would not affect the forthcoming 2016 presidential polls.
Time has run out on many of these proposals, because in one court case, the court ruled that yes, you can make these proposals, but they cannot apply to the immediate coming election. They will apply to subsequent elections.
They demand and request humbly that if somebody from the Secretariat could go there, an issue is Rwemiyaga constituency. Because the colleague goes there and says he's still an NRM, he's challenges NRM activities, and nobody has explained.
In a separate development, Kabula County MP James Kakoza, the man who led the campaign in 2003 to amend the constitution to remove term limits on the presidency so that Museveni could run again, reportedly made a shocking move at the NRM retreat in Chankwanzi by considering a motion to reinstate the presidential term limits. MP Kakoza's move was reported to have ignited sharp debate, with majority of the caucus members rallying support behind him on account that reinstating the term limits would ease the debate on the abolition of an age limit for presidential candidates.
What has sounded as a build-up of new invisible power centers within the NRM party, Kabula County MP James Kakoza, the man who spearheaded a successful campaign in 2013 that saw presidential term limits abolished in 2005, has thrown another spanner in the works at the NRM caucus retreat in Chankwanzi by moving a motion to reinstate the presidential term limits. Whereas MP Kakoza's U-turn was unexpected, it is said to have attracted a huge following at the retreat, with members buying the idea to bounce back presidential term limits on account to ease the debate on abolition of age limit for presidential candidates. Observer now say Kakoza's U-turn is significant. It currently explains the disunity in the NRM, which is a result of an increasing tendency within the NRM for various centers of power to emerge over every issue as they position themselves for the battle for power in a post-Museveni era. One independent MP who sought for anonymity but is attending the NRM caucus, speaking in a telephone interview with us, said that the centers of power pushing for a bounce back of presidential term limits were very active in the last campaigns and in some cases supported candidates who eventually won. Open quotes, he says they would like to see reform in the party, but they don't want to say so publicly. Close quotes, the MP said. The MP said some of the new MPs and even others who made it back to the House were denied official NRM party funding but still won, a situation that has made them reconsider their priorities. Now some of the new party members may want to avoid the criticism the last parliament faced and chart a new direction for the party. But Museveni still has one vital tool: cabinet jobs for beating errant NRM MPs into the party line. Timothy Mbabazi, BS Television, Kampala.
Now, in a bid to keep the peace, former Prime Minister and Secretary General of the ruling National Resistance Movement, John Patrick Mbabazi, skipped the official opening of the NRM retreat at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi, as senior party leaders insisted the disagreements in the party have been ironed out, with skeptics advancing an argument that the party is in a popularity crisis, rocked by internal contradictions. Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, retired Major General Kahinda Otafire, dared the opposition to prove the point by trouncing the ruling party. Joseph Sabiti reported.
The members of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus returned to Chankwanzi with significant political developments, with one of the figures who has been at the center of the previous retreats missing in action after a series of political developments that saw former powerful Premier and Secretary General Mbabazi lose his place at the center of power. Some senior party leaders, however, downplay his absence at the retreat, insisting that it is insignificant to the party.
Why don't you telephone him and ask him where he is? Just telephone him, pick his phone, telephone him. I don't want to say where he is because he may be on the way here. He may be sick in the hospital. He could be in Britain. He could as well be in his home. There is no, among the laws of God, government, and the party, there is none which says he must be here. So we are here on our own volition.
I will come back, give you a chance.
Concerns that the internal contradictions are taking the party down the drain, insiders believe it is wishful thinking of those who would want to oust the party from power after close to 3 decades.
From you.
That's their view and they're entitled to it. That's their democratic right. Remember, they are contesting with us. You cannot have the opposite team saying good things about your capacity. Well, the taste of the soup is in the eating. Let's see when we go down to the play field, how they will manage. And if they win, that's democracy. If our popularity is going down, why don't they exploit it? If they exploit it and they win, and they will be the alternative government. They will make a government. This is not our challenge, but they will not win. That's what I can assure you. You know, why are they complaining about our popularity going down? They should be very happy about it. Yes, if I were them, I would keep quiet.
NRM has done very well as a movement. In the years it has been in power, it continues to do well. Therefore, the people of Uganda will give it renewed mandate because of its performance, because of its credibility, and because of its record.
The NRM retreat comes at a time when calls for electoral reforms continue to get louder every day, with the 2016 general elections a stone throw away. The leadership of the country, however, sees no reason to worry in that regard, even as the civil society and the opposition continue to raise the red flag.
So we are waiting for ideas from the population. Because the election is not about government. It's about the population, the will of the population. So we are waiting for the Law Reform Commission to compile all the ideas that were contributed by the public and institutions, so that we bring it onto the floor we take it to cabinet and then bring it to the floor of parliament.
You know, the movement government has always been committed to improved, free, fair and credible elections. Therefore, actually the movement is at the forefront of proposing new electoral reforms. Fortunately, other parties are also doing the same. So there have been discussions with other political parties, and in the main, we have now agreed on the major reforms to carry out. Cabinet will be discussing them this month, now that the different political groups, stakeholders and the parties have agreed. Then at the Parliament should be able to discuss these reforms in the course.
A few days earlier, the government side in Parliament shot down a bill that would streamline presidential transition in the country, with the MPs insisting the transition question is sorted out by the controversial Chankwanzi resolution that propelled the sole candidature of President Museveni. We tasked the Prime Minister to explain the reason for rejecting what looked a necessary piece of legislation.
Government did not accept that bill because we wanted to consider it first and see the proposals. We think the ideas are reasonable, but they are so important that we need to consider them both as a government, cabinet, and also as a caucus, so that we go with it when we have fully internalized it.
A critical development witnessed is the presence of independents at the caucus meeting in what appears a move to rally consensus ahead of the critical constitution amendments. Butambala woman MP Mariam Nalubega, a renowned critic of the government this time, was downed in yellow colors.
It's my choice to choose to come or not to come, but I chose to come. Why? One, the law does not bar me from associating with anybody. I have a right anyway to associate with whoever I want to associate with. And I'm here by association and I'm here on invitation. And two, you know that I've ever participated in NRM primaries. So that means that I have a definition somewhere in courts as to where I belong.
The MPs will spend the next 1 week deliberating on a number of issues in what will most likely be laws when they hit the floor of Parliament for deliberation.
When you have two heads who are always thinking in consonance, then it means one of them is not thinking. You cannot have more than two people working together and you don't have dissonance. Of course, if there was a bit of disagreement within the party, has it persisted? There was a disagreement. Has it been resolved? Because the important thing is not having disagreement. It's how do you resolve that contradiction that really matters. Because when you are running a community, communities have contradictions. What is important is how are those contradictions resolved. And for us, we have resolved this contradiction and we are moving on, as you can see.
Sabit Joseph, WS Television from Chankwanzi.